Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Is a
Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Tuesday morning. This is the Don't Even Bother to Look Outside edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra and InForum.com. I think everybody's ready for me just to go on another rant. I'm not going to do that this morning. You all can see what it's like. Sucks. No other way to put it. The 28th day of March. It's going to be like -10 tonight. I don't know what else you want me to do. I'm on wit's end on this. You know? For our spring sport athletes, I feel for you. I really do. I hope that the people that are in charge are thinking about this and thinking, what can we do? Because I had another coach reach out to me yesterday, said, Dom, I really appreciate you. And I'm not just saying this because it's the show. Just saying, hey, I really appreciate you bringing this to the forefront. Because what would people be saying if we lost 3 to 4 months or 3 to 4 weeks of the fall sports season, 3 to 4 weeks of the winter sports season? We would be up in arms. There would be a lot of people up in arms. Wouldn't just be, throwing our hands up like, well, it's the spring in North Dakota. It's the spring in Minnesota. Ain't no way that's happening. If we lost a month of the football season, and I know we went through this with COVID, there would be hell to pay. If we lost a month of the basketball season, there would be hell to pay. Okay? It's unfair, and you can say, well, it's not the revenue-generating sport like basketball and football is, that softball and tennis and baseball and soccer don't move the meter. That doesn't make it right. So, and for those athletes that work all year for it, if you're a baseball player, if you're a soccer player, if you're tennis, track, I understand you do other sports, but maybe this is your favorite one. I feel for it. I really do. And I hope, like I said, that the people in charge are looking towards doing something different, because this ain't working. Just thinking, well, you know what? Next spring will be better. We've got actual proof now, okay? And for the folks that say, well, next year, what if it is? If it's 50 degrees and we got no snow outside on March 28th, then why are we waiting till April 15th to play? Again, I'll reiterate my point off the top that I said yesterday. Then that's awesome. Then teams can actually get outside and practice. Because as we're looking at it now, right? Let's just go and down this rabbit hole. I'm sorry, because we got a ton to do today. But down this rabbit hole, that a month from now, April 28th, do you think we're outside? I would hope. Maybe not. I mean, but let's just say, how many times have teams been outside a month from now? It's not going to be many. Just the long-range forecasting on this, the melt is not going to happen anytime soon. And that's my point. Like, okay, once it gets warm enough, A, we're still going to have a ton of snow. B, we're just going to go outside and play? You've been indoors if you're a baseball player or a softball player. I mean, that's not realistic. Or soccer. All right, we've been inside for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and now tomorrow you got your first game. We wouldn't ask anybody to do. You know what? The only people we ask to do that is 9-man football players. We ask them to practice on a Wednesday, and then the following Friday, get out there and play. That's the only people we ask to do that, and it's completely baloney. So, again, I'm trying to save all my bullets for the commentary we're going to do on this, but it just seems like it's time. It's time for some momentum on this. Will it happen? I don't know. But it'd be nice to at least get the conversation started instead of me just yelling at the clouds about it. Anyway, welcome to our show, everybody. We got a fun show coming up for you. We got 3 in-studio guests, which is always exciting, and lots to get to, ranging in the sports world on this Tuesday. A reminder, tomorrow we will be live on location up at the new indoor practice facility, the Nodak Insurance Football Indoor Complex. They need a better acronym for that. For North Dakota State's Pro Day, which will begin right about now. You'll see it on WDAY Extra, at least for our time window, from 9 to 11 tomorrow morning. We're expecting the entire NFL to be here. All 32 teams are anticipating on coming. And everyone from Cody Mauk, Hunter Lipke, Noah Gindorff, Destin Talbert, Michael Tutsi, Dawson Weber, all will be out on the football field tomorrow. So for those that haven't even seen the indoor practice facility, I encourage you to watch our show tomorrow. And we did this last year. It was a ton of fun and excited about tomorrow's program. So that's coming up 9 to 11 tomorrow right here on Extra. With that said, we'll begin our first segment recap as we do with the sports going on last night. And fitting, we'll start with the Timberwolves because they didn't start playing till 9 o'clock last night. So I'm sure some of you waking up and finding out that the Timberwolves won. And the way they won was even more impressive. Playing on the back end of a back-to-back in Sacramento. The Kings all geeked up for a party because all the Kings needed to do was win, and they would clinch a playoff berth for the first time in 17 years. But the Timberwolves wanted no part of that. They came out of the gates roaring without Cat. Cat sat last night, coach's decision because playing on the back end of a back-to-back. But Jaden McDaniels, who was in foul trouble on Sunday against the Warriors, came out flying last night. That's a nice alley-oop there from slow-mo to Gobert. Naz Reid just continues to play really, really well. Here, the pass there on the drop and the 3 put the Wolves up by 14. But the Kings put a rally together. Sabonis is great. If you've not watched Domantas Sabonis play, he is outstanding. That power dunk there. And then De'Aaron Fox, the turnaround in the lane, he had 29 as the Kings took the lead at halftime. They were up 58-57 at halftime. Early fourth now. Wolves are up 1. They get a great defensive play there and then go in transition with a great drive to the basket and the finish to put the Wolves up. Again, I don't know what else to tell you about Naz, how good he has been. That is a power dunk there. He finished with 18 points. Every time they've needed him to step up, he has done that and then some, especially with Cat not playing last night. That might have been the hammer of the game, but it was still a 4-point lead. Kick out, corner 3. Good there from our guy Ant, who had 17. The Wolves, all 5 starters, scored 15 or more points last night. McDaniels, that's another aerial assault there. He had 20 to lead the Timberwolves, and they shocked the Kings. You could see they were all excited for a party. Ain't none happening. The Timberwolves win it 119-115 is the final. McDaniels with 20. Edwards 17. Gobert had 16 points and 16 boards last night. He was great. And the Wolves have now won 4 games in a row. And as we talked about yesterday, if you get on any kind of streak with how tight the standings are, you are going to leapfrog some teams. And as we sit here on this snowy morning, the Timberwolves now are out of the play-in and in the 6th spot in the Western Conference with a tiebreaker on Golden State. The Wolves hold the 6th spot and just a game back of the Clippers for 5th and a game and a half back of the Suns for 4th. And they play Phoenix coming up tomorrow night in Phoenix. The Warriors at 7, the Pelicans at 8. They play each other tonight, which is going to be a huge game. The Lakers hold the 9th spot, and then the Thunder at 10. It's just, you're playing some great basketball right now. They got 6 games to go in the season, and we've already talked about what they have left with Phoenix coming up on Wednesday. Then it's the Lakers on Friday, the Trailblazers who are out of it, then the Nets, the Spurs, and the Pelicans. So you've got 3 games here against teams that are quote-unquote, out of it, and 3 games they're going to be really tough. Are we going to sit here and say the Wolves are safely in the playoffs? No, but who knows? I mean, depends. If you go 6-0, you're out of the play-in. 4-2, probably. 3-3, you're in the play-in tournament. I think that's probably a safe bet. But who knows what's going to happen here over the next week and a half. But the Wolves are playing some heck of a basketball. It's fun to watch. Sacramento, and I'll say this, the Kings, for a generation of fans, have never been good. They're good now, and they will beat some teams. They're going to potentially win a playoff series. Who knows? It could be against the Wolves. If it ends up now, Sacramento would be the 3 seed. They would play the Wolves in that opening round of the playoffs. So we'll see. Going to be fun to watch coming on down the stretch. While that happening last night, the Minnesota Wild were in action back at XL Energy Center and facing the Seattle Kraken, a team that has been a thorn in the side of the Wild over the last 2 years since their inception. And again, you talk about with guys out of the lineup, other guys stepping up. We mentioned Matt Boldy last week and just what a tear he's been on in that game against the Flyers. It was on Thursday. He did it again last night against Seattle. One-man wrecking crew without Kirill Kaprizov. And we got the update yesterday that Kaprizov hasn't even begun skating. Not great. They're going to need Boldy, and they're going to need Marc-Andre Fleury, who was sensational last night. 35 saves, including that one robbing down low. The Kraken came out on fire in this game. They could have had 1 or 2 goals in the opening period. The Wild get the opening goal from Jake Middleton to score to make it a 1-0 Minnesota lead. Same score now in the second on the power play. Don't leave him open. Boldy comes in with a perfect wrist shot. That is 26th goal of the season. Makes it 2-0. Fleury, again with a pad, really good to keep the Kraken off the scoreboard. And our guy Will Borgen, Minnesota native Moorhead guy, back playing for Seattle. Couldn't get anything past Fleury. It's still 2-0. Boldy decides to take over again. I don't even know how that puck went in the net. At this point, you're just throwing things at the net and they're going in. That makes it 3-0. Then off the turnover, Eriksson Ek feeds it. Boldy one-times it. There's the hat trick. His second in 5 games. His 28th of the season. That made it a 4-0 score. And the Wild never looked back after that. A 5-1 rout of Seattle. You're talking about playing amazingly well. That's where the Minnesota Wild are at right now. They cannot lose a game. They keep getting points. And as we sit here this morning, in first place in the Central Division after last night's 5-1 win, about as good as it gets. 8-0-1 in their last 9. It's about what you want. 7-1-2 in their last 10. And have a 1-point lead on Dallas as we start today. And we talk about what the Wolves have left. The Wild have a murderer's row of scheduling left here coming down the stretch. Really tough. Which begins on Wednesday night with a national TV game against the Avalanche in Colorado. And suddenly the Wild and Avalanche have surged past Dallas. You remember the Stars had the lead for the longest time. Now it's between Minnesota and Colorado, and the Avalanche are about as red hot as Minnesota is. It's at the Avalanche, at the Vegas Golden Knights on Saturday, home for Vegas on Monday. Then you can see what they have left after that, with the Penguins on there, followed by the Blues, Blackhawks, Jets, and the Predleys to wrap up the season. So the next 3 are going to be really hard. You get any sort of points out of that, you put yourself in great shape. And again, if you're the first place team, you play one of the 2 wild card teams. So if the Wild want that division championship for obvious reasons, none more so than probably you match up with Seattle in the opening round. If we want to go back to the standings board, guys, if you match up with Seattle likely in the opening round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, as it would stand right now, Vegas would get Winnipeg if the standings hold like this in the opening round of the postseason coming up in a couple weeks' time. That's how it would shake out. The Wild would get Seattle in a best of 7. You want to stay away from playing Colorado as long as you can. That's kind of the goal there. This is how it would set up today if the playoffs were to start today. And you can see in the East, there's already, 5 teams that have already clinched spots. The Rangers were the last to do it last night. Toronto's in there. Boston clinched about 2 months ago. That's how good the Bruins have been. And you can see nobody in the West has clinched anything yet. We'll start getting that here later this week. But big win for the Wild last night. Fun. It was energetic. And the problem was the game was only on ESPN Plus or Hulu last night. So for you Bally people that like to watch the Wolves or the Wild, you couldn't watch the Wild there because they were on ESPN Plus last night. Really excited about our show lineup here. We'll have our usual Tuesday lineup guests. Mike McFeely will be by at 9:35. Mike was up at Bison practice this morning, so we'll get his thoughts on what he saw from NDSU in spring practice number 2 coming up at 9:35. Kyle Emanuel will join us at 10 o'clock. Kyle will be back with us tomorrow, of course, for NDSU Pro Day as well. We'll get down memory lane on what do you remember from his Pro Day and what to expect coming up tomorrow. That's coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, we'll welcome in the pride of Crosby, Minnesota. Noah Gindorff will come on the show. It's been a long road. Noah's been off the football field since September when he had a second surgery performed on his ankle, then ended his collegiate career. Though he has went through the pre-draft process, went out to the NFLPA game, was at the Combine in Indianapolis, and we'll see what he'll be able to do tomorrow at NDSU's Pro Day. He'll join us in studio coming up at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here on our show this morning. So we're glad you're joining us on another snowy edition of Hot Mike. We'll take a break. Back after this on WDAY Extra at InForum.com. Don't forget, of course, our Pro Day coverage tomorrow, right here on WDAY Extra and Hot Mike, 9 to 11, InForum.com. We'll also be able to stream everything from what should be a busy day up at NDSU. Welcome back, everybody, to our show. Mike McFeely coming up in about 15 minutes' time. Noah Gindorff at about 10:35, North Dakota State tight end, wrapping up his collegiate career and now on to the next step. That's coming up here in about 15 minutes' time. One last thing from last night. And that is, we now know the women's Final Four is set. And no surprise that South Carolina is there, but how they got there was the dramatic part, I guess, for a little bit in their game last night with Maryland in the Elite Eight. We'll show you that here because typically how South Carolina rolls is they roll. And the fact that this game, and this tells you how dominant they are, at least for a bit, was in question. Like at halftime, we're wondering what's going on because the game isn't a boat race. That's what has happened with teams playing South Carolina. That wait a minute, this game, Maryland's hanging in there. And then, they're down 3. And then South Carolina started to find some rhythm before the end of the first half. If you go to Aaliyah Boston, it's probably a good idea because next to Caitlin Clark, they're the 2 best players in the country. And she's basically unstoppable and was for a good chunk of the game last night because right before the half, South Carolina started to find it, went on a run, took an 8-point lead into the halftime locker room, and after that, they put the hammer down on Maryland from there. Boston, you see, score down there. Kept the lead. They just kept Maryland at arm's length pretty much throughout the game. Boston went for 22 points and 10 rebounds last night. And anytime that Maryland thought they had a chance to sniff back into that, they would hit shots like that in the corner. And they're heading back to the Final Four. They're still unbeaten. They've won all 36 games this season. They're going for 38-0, 86-75. They beat Maryland. And with Virginia Tech winning over Ohio State, Va Tech making it to the women's Final Four for the first time. We have our Final Four now. South Carolina will face Iowa. I'll get to that in a second. And then Virginia Tech will face LSU. And Dawn Staley, the South Carolina coach, after the game said, let's go. She was cheering on Kim Mulkey and LSU to win. So you've got a LSU South Carolina national championship game. And I'll get to remind everybody, the national title game is on WDAY on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. The games will be LSU, Virginia Tech will play the first game at 6 o'clock Friday night on ESPN. And then it'll be Iowa, South Carolina, probably about 8:15, 8:20 on Friday night. And I'm here to tell you, somebody tweeted at me after the South Carolina game ended to say, well, Don, that's got to be must-see TV. And I agree. I said that on Sunday night when Iowa won, that likely it's going to be Iowa, South Carolina. And you're seeing the stories already online today that likely going to be a ratings record. Hard to imagine it's not going to be. If you have Caitlin Clark, who is by far the most popular player in women's basketball right now, she's the best player. I think she's the best player still playing, men's or women's. She's the best shooter. She's the best passer. Man or woman, doesn't matter right now. It's her. And she will get eyeballs to the screen that wouldn't watch normally. And they're facing the behemoth that is South Carolina, the defending national champions who have yet to lose. You've got everything in the pot that you would want. Everything is there that you would really, really want for a championship matchup. It's not even. It's a Final Four game. I think ESPN secretly was hoping this would be the championship game, but if they can't get it there, get it on prime time, and they have it on Friday night. Now, if you were to give them truth serum, I think they tell you for a better championship game, they want LSU, South Carolina, just for the coaches themselves. For Mulkey and Staley, that will bring in. And it'd be a conference, much like we had in the FCS championship game. You'd have a conference rematch for the title in women's basketball. I don't think that would be too bad. But the longer Clark plays, I think more people will be watching. She's magnetic like that. I think I had people reaching out to me that had not watched a women's basketball game all season, watched her play in the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight this weekend. And she did not disappoint. Be fun. Friday night will be the national semifinals in Dallas. That's where the women's Final Four is this year. On top of that, the Minnesota Duluth women's basketball team will also be heading to Dallas because that's where the D2 championship game, that game comes up on Saturday because they're having all the divisions. 1, 2, and 3 of the women's basketball tournaments are having their championship games in Dallas coming up this weekend. Real quick, before we wrap up our second segment here, Mike coming up in just a few minutes. We got sound yesterday. We were on the air when Lamar Jackson made his trade request known. After we were done, Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, met with the assembled media. Robert Saleh spoke yesterday, the Jets coach. But this was the first time we've heard from anybody on the Packers side of things about their intentions with Aaron Rodgers and where things stand here. We'll play the sound. I want to react to it after that. This is Gutekunst yesterday at the NFL owners meetings in Phoenix.
We're going to have some follow-up conversations. And our inability to reach him or for him to respond in any way, I think at that point, then we just kind of I had to do my job and kind of reach out and understanding that a trade could be possible and see who was interested. But that shopping was never really part of that. I think I was really looking forward to the conversations with Aaron to see how he fit into that. Those never transpired. So, there came a time where we kind of had to make some, decisions. So we went through his representatives to try to kind of talk to him where we were going with our team. And at that point, they informed us they would like to be traded to the Jets. We talked after the season, and we're going to continue the conversations, and then that never happened. But, I don't really get into the whole media thing and what he does on Pat McAfee and those comments and things. But, it would have been nice to have those conversations. I'm not going to get into the details of that. We've had a lot of discussions. I've known Joe for a long time, and they've been really good discussions, really, cordial, and we'll continue to have those conversations, and hopefully we can come to agreement sooner than later.
Sooner than later. I think for everybody, we want sooner on this. I think it's interesting. The Packers tried to reach Rodgers several times no response. I don't know if he gave him the Schefter lose my number bit, but it's interesting that Rodgers didn't even want to have a discussion. I guess, I mean, that would maybe dispute what he said about going into the darkness and wanting to play for the Jets, that if he was already done, I guess, I don't know if that meant he was done playing, like he said, Rodgers said on the McAfee show that he was ready to go retire. I don't know. The whole thing, honestly, I'm exhausted with it, even if it involves my favorite team. But there you go. Now it's each side is dug in. You heard Joe Douglas also met with the media yesterday, the general manager of the Jets, and said that they don't feel like they're under any imperative to get this done, any timetable to get this done, which, I mean, I just don't know. It's what side is going to blink first. The Packers clearly want the Jets' first-round pick. The Jets clearly do not want to give that up. After that, there's pretty much nothing else to be said. Jordan Love is going to be the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, and it appears Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback for the New York Jets in 2023. If those statements alone make you just want to shake your head. Just crazy. We're due for a break. Coming up, Mike McFeely will be by at his usual 9:35 time slot. Lots to chat about, as always, with Mike, who is up at Bison practice on this Tuesday morning. We'll dive into that when Hot Mike returns on WDAY Extra at InForum.com.
I have seen the future, and he was wearing number 5, and I ain't talking about Robbie Grimsley, folks.
Took out the muffins, took out the trail mix, took out the cookies. They stole the monster cookies.
You good?
Okay.
Is there a reason why I'm out of the shot?
Look at that.
Isn't that great? Old man yells.
Baseball sucks. These kids today.
Right? You know, off of that is we bring in Mike McFeely for his usual Tuesday time slot. I got a piece of video. I know you've seen this already. Some of our viewers haven't, from spring training.
Oh,
yesterday.
is this the...
Speaking of baseball.
Yeah, okay.
Phillies are playing the Blue Jays yesterday. Spring training's wrapping up. Hey, it's just nice to have beautiful blue sky video, sun out kind of stuff. But JT Realmuto is the catcher for the Phillies. And, guys, you can go play it. He's in just catching the ball back, and he drops the ball, and the umpire tossed him because they were disagreeing with a strike call, I think, the pitch before that, and he tossed him because he thinks the umpire thought the Realmuto
was like showing him up and moved the glove on purpose, and it sure didn't look like it.
No.
It looked like he just maybe thought the ump had thrown the ball back to the mound himself, or the timing was off, and so he just moved his glove.
My God.
It's a AAA umpire. It's a AAA umpire. But like the crew, whoever the crew chief was, defended him after the game. It's like, what are you doing?
Why?
What are we doing here?
Just come on. Could you have like less of a fuse than that?
Ugh.
Really? We haven't even started playing the games for real yet.
I am going to be the show. I
so.
am going to be
Holy cow.
the show today.
I mean, come on. Literally.
Look at that. He just like, and it's not, I mean, there's no way Realmuto could have known because he was looking straight ahead. It's like he's,
He has spider sense to know that the ball was in the glove.
It was.
Oh, God.
It's
baseball, man. I swear. They just test us every time. You want people to watch and then do something like that.
Well, but the games are going to be like an hour and a half now with all these,
the
true. Shot clock and everything else they have going on. Got rid of the shift. It's like golf.
Yeah.
They're going to absolutely change the rules to make people like the game again. It's like, okay.
The game's going to be over in 2 hours. It'd be great,
Oh,
you know? It's going to be awesome considering next week at Target Field it'll be 20 degrees, so it's all right if the game's over.
It'll be 20 degrees outside the stadium, Dom. It'll be 75 and sunny inside.
Yeah. Are you heading down next week? Is that your for opening day? I know
That's
you've
my
done
plan.
that.
Yeah, I don't know. If I could drive through the snowstorm on the way down and over the burning buildings in downtown Minneapolis. I got a couple different things going on.
You got to get the snowstorm first, and then anarchy down there.
Skirt the riots, the anarchy, and then, all that.
With that said, though, you were inside the glorious new practice facility this morning up at NDSU, which is sorely needed for
being the old man that I am. I wake up at 5 o'clock and just lay there in bed, count the spackling in the ceiling. Oh, I never saw that before. Huh. I'll be darned. Huh.
So you thought about going over to
practice?
So
I decided, I'll go over to practice this morning. I got nothing else to do. I'll make my third cup of coffee by 6:30. And
how are the old bison looking?
I had him at 3 and 8.
Oh,
I jumped on the Colpack and Izzo bandwagon.
Yes, of course. We had them buried last year.
They're just unbelievable.
Yeah.
All their losses.
Last week we said they were going to.
But as I tweeted out earlier, my observations are just total off the cuff observations. None of them may mean anything. Don't know. Hunter Zenzen, I think he's going to get some reps at defensive end.
Okay.
I didn't talk to anybody, didn't talk to Entz. I can't believe Matt Entz didn't run up and welcome me to practice and give me a whistle. Maybe next time.
I
thought
holding your breath on that one.
The Reggie King, the kid they moved from safety to cornerback.
Yep.
I don't know if he's going to play at cornerback, if he's going to get on the field, but he's a big kid, man. He's like 6'2", 190 something, and that's big for an FCS cornerback. A lot of 5'10s, a lot of I think Courtney Eubanks is about 5'9", a lot of 5'11s. Being 6'2" at cornerback in FCS is a pretty big kid.
Yep.
And so if he can get on the field and
6'2",
play.
6'2", 190.
Yeah, and he just looked bigger than every other cornerback because he came in as a safety.
Correct.
And then I thought Mekhi Collins looks like a different kind of athlete. I don't know if he's going to get on the field.
I think there's a really good chance he's going to be playing.
He didn't last year as a true freshman. But man, he just looks like a different.
6'4", 215.
6'4", 215, and he looks again bigger than Zach Mathis, who's 6'7".
Yeah.
He just looks like a bigger body, taller, faster. Just
that's your go over the top guy. I
better
think.
athlete
Yep.
than a lot of the other kids. Those are my 3 observations.
Okay.
Oh, the other one, and this is not a secret because Matt Entz brought this up in his press conference. There's like 37 receivers and 3 running backs on the field. It seems like it should be the other way around,
right?
For a team like North Dakota State. I don't know why they have so many receivers since they throw the ball 12 times a game, and I don't know why they have so few running backs. Well, I know part of the reason is because guys left.
Yep.
But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Matt Entz clearly did not go out and get anybody in the transfer portal. And I haven't heard of anything. Yeah. I haven't heard of anything like guys in visiting or, any outreach there. I kind of get the sense that
they do have one coming in, but he won't be here till June. True freshman. That's Shamar Brown from Omaha. Then the 4 that they have here right now.
Right. But that's still, so you're going to bank on a true freshman. I know they like the kid out of Omaha, but he's a true freshman. And running back
to answer your question, no, I wouldn't do that. But
right, but I
don't know if they're going to do that.
There's like 7,000 running backs in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Just go get a couple and have them on the roster. I mean, it's not. There's no shame in that. I don't know. I don't know the reluctance there. I guess I don't.
So right now it's Tamarick Williams, T.K. Marshall, Barika Penu, and they moved Owen Johnson to scholarship, a walk-on.
Yeah.
Now as a scholarship guy from Mankato, who they like. That's it. Those are the running backs that are on the roster. Now, Raja Nelson was getting reps at running back on Thursday in practice number 1. I don't know if that's, you're talking about the amount of wide receivers they have.
So you're going to move somebody from
I don't know if that's a
receiver to running back.
I don't know.
It just seems odd to me.
I'm with you.
Because Matt Entz for the last couple of years, and he's been right.
We need as many running backs.
Yes. He's come out and said that publicly multiple times. Yep. He said, we've learned you can't have enough running backs because you always get guys hurt and you always get guys nicked up, and they went into that championship game against, was it Eastern Washington or was it James Madison?
It was James Madison.
Where they had like one running back.
Lance Dunn had just come back from his hip.
And he got like 3 carries in the game, but played well, but had like 3 carries. I think
Seth Wilson was a true freshman.
Bruce Anderson was hurt.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it seems odd to go from you can't have enough running backs, and he said last year, I swore I'd never be caught short again.
Yeah. Yep.
And so now they have 4 guys in spring ball.
with Kobe Johnson obviously leaving after the season got done.
And that's the reason. I mean, Kobe Johnson, I think unfortunately for him, it appears left after the season through the portal, and Dom Ganella left at the end of the regular season. It was. And no, it was actually before the end of the regular season, wasn't it?
No, the regular season wrapped. It was the last game of the season before the playoffs left. So there's two guys there that would have been back here in 2023 that are not. That gets you up to 6.
At least that's, then you bring in a couple, and they did not bring in a running back last year.
Season, correct. They did not
freshman
recruit a
running
guy.
back.
Correct.
So that might kind of catch up to them this year too, because they had so many a year ago.
Yeah, I mean right now, I don't know if they weren't banking on Turmeric, honestly. Remember, we found that out before the national championship game.
That's right.
They weren't banking on Turmeric
because Turmeric walked in the graduation
Correct.
ceremony, and all indications were he was gone after last year, and then apparently they re-recruited him, and
he decided to come back. Where would they have been if that was the case? You know what I mean?
Then he would have had to go and
do something. Yeah,
but we'll see how it goes, and I
tend to agree with you there.
I don't know.
Defensively is where everyone's focus is, and rightfully so, on the back end. And Entz had a comment during the press conference on Wednesday, so we're going to see who's going to play safety. We're going to find out who's going to play safety. I don't know how well that went over with some of the Bison fans when they heard that on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's again
an interesting comment.
It's an interesting comment they with what they lost there, they were never going to be to that level with that experience anyway. But yeah, then with Dom Jones leaving in the portal, and again has not yet, to the best of our knowledge, found a new school. They're going to have 2 new guys back there, and they're going to change the way they do it. Instead of having a right side, left side, they're just going to have interchangeable pieces back there, and so that's something they're going to have to work through. Again, they'll be fine. It's what level of fine they're going to be. They're not going to. I'm jokingly saying they're going to be 3. They're not going to be 3-8.
No.
And there seems to be again this
momentum
belief out there in the outside world, for what that's worth, that this is going to be a real down year for them. And I was on Sam Herder's podcast last week, and Sam's great, no problems, but he was kind of saying, well, 8-3, and they won some close games last year, and I think they might lose this year. And it's like, well, okay, but if you look at their schedule,
I was going to say, who's going to give them a close game this season?
Well,
on that?
I wouldn't go so. There's always close games,
right? But,
even in the undefeated years, NDSU had close games.
But for the teams that are coming here, though,
the way what I told Sam was, look, they have 7 home games.
Correct.
The game at US Bank Stadium is a neutral site game, but it's a home game.
Yes.
There's going to be 25,000 or whatever Bison fans. That's a home game.
Yep.
So you have 7 home games, and the toughest one is likely to be Southern Illinois, and everything else is Murray State, Western Illinois,
South Dakota,
Eastern Washington,
Central Arkansas,
and Maine. I mean, so if they hold serve at home, they're 7-0.
Yeah, there's 7,
and they have 4 road games.
Right.
And even if you go 2-2 on the road, which they haven't done in forever,
that's 9.
That's 9-2.
Yeah. That gets you maybe a first round. Well, I got him a first round bye. I got him a 3 seed.
Got him a 3 seed this year, right? Or last year. I mean, so if it was a different schedule, I go, oh, okay.
Correct.
But, UND is going to be a tough game.
Yep. Northern Iowa
is going to be a tough game. SDSU is going to be a tough game.
Missouri State, I think, is going the other way. Don't you?
Possible. Possible, yeah. But again, are they going to go, if they go 7-0 at home, are they going to go 1-3 on the road? That seems unlikely.
Yeah. Even at that, you've won 8 ball games.
Right, you're still 8-3, but it just seems unlikely you're going to go 1-3.
That's
and all of that is based on whether they go 7-0 at home.
Correct.
With 7 home games.
I mean, Central Arkansas is not what they were a couple years ago. Maine is a middle of the pack, if that bottom end of the CAA team.
And they're coming here.
Right. It's not like they're going there.
Right.
Eastern Washington.
Central Arkansas might be a challenge. They'll have some athletes. Eastern Washington.
You've been hammering this for the better part of a year, and you're right on that they are going the wrong way, man.
They'll have some offensive skill guys, but are they going to be able to stop NDSU's running game even with 2 running backs? Unlikely, because they haven't done it for 15 years. So why would they do it now?
Nope. South Dakota is, I don't think, very good.
They have some questions.
Yep.
I mean,
Murray State,
South Dakota has a new quarterback. Right. He played late last year, but
Aiden Bauman is his name.
I mean, they lost their best receivers at Grand Forks
Yep.
right now, so we'll see.
And then Murray State and Western Illinois are
Awful.
bad,
Just
are
bad.
bad teams.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I tend to agree with you on that. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to chat some NFL stuff as well, including more Bison who, again, may be on the move. We'll discuss that when Hot Mike returns. We wrap up hour one right after this. All right, wrapping up here our first hour back with Mike McFeely here in studio. Kyle Emanuel on the bed. Noah Gindorff will join us coming up in studio at 10:35. Pride of Crosby, Minnesota, figuring out what's going to happen with Pro Day tomorrow. We'll ask Noah about that coming up before we go.
Serpent Lake. Ask him about Serpent Lake.
Is that a good
I
spot
go through
for you?
Crosby every time I go to my sister's place up by that area, her lake place.
Is that a spot you've hit before?
I have fished on Serpent Lake before,
Had some
yes.
success?
Not much.
No? Okay.
No. So tell him, ask him for the hot spots.
Well, that'll be question 1A. I'll get to him.
McFeely wants to know where the hot spots are in Serpent Lake.
NFL general manager meetings are going on out in and owner meetings going on out in Phoenix. It's funny they
Are they in a warm
spots.
weather?
Yeah, they pick spots like that. To go
NHL
to,
guys
huh?
always go to Naples,
Yeah,
Florida.
Yeah, it's smart on that.
NFL guys go to Phoenix and Tampa and Orlando.
49ers general manager John Lynch, when asked yesterday, said that Brock Purdy has earned the right to start at quarterback for the 49ers in 2023.
Yes, he has.
Which would then point us right to, well, what does that mean for Trey Lance? And I think that's a question I'll pose to you. I don't know. Purdy's injury, obviously, we saw the video of when he got hurt in the NFC Championship game. He had surgery. We're being told that he should be ready by late in training camp, by August. The 49ers went and signed Sam Darnold to be some insurance. To me, it seems like Trey Lance might be the odd man out on this. What do you think?
Well, I don't know about that. Brock Purdy, what Lynch said is, he has.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he was the best quarterback they had last year. There's no doubt about that. But he's coming back from an injury, and he's still a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's, I don't know that you want to just turn your franchise over like without question and say, okay, we're going to get rid of everybody else because this is our guy, especially when Trey Lance is under a rookie contract. It's a lot of money.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, but he's still under a rookie contract for a couple more years. And so why would you give up on him at this point?
That.
And you still, by the way, gave up a boatload to get him. So why would you give up on that? Because you're not going to get that in return. Because, now people are going to say, well, why are you trading him then
Right.
if you think he's your franchise quarterback, which they don't, apparently, at this point.
Yeah.
And so I think they keep him around.
You've visited with, I know, a couple of different San Francisco 49er beat guys. I mean, has the worm turned on this so much that Purdy is – because, I mean, he played well after Garoppolo got hurt.
I don't think there's no – that was never a question.
But
the way
that they've soured, I guess, on Lance, is that
I don't know
too
if
rough to say
I think
on that?
soured is probably too strong. I think it's more of a
Can he get on the field?
No, it's not even that. It's when he did get a chance, he didn't show what they thought he could show. And then as it turned out, Kyle Shanahan was running him a lot.
Right.
I mean, and you can't run a quarterback
on the NFL.
in the NFL like you do in FCS football. It's just not going to work. And so I think that the consensus was he wasn't going to last the way they were running him anyway. And so they, the throwing, the control of the offense, all of that was in question. They had not given up on him, but they said, okay, there's a ways to go here. Purdy came in then and was really good. And they said, well, okay, so he's got a handle on the offense far better than Trey Lance does. So he's our guy. That doesn't, soured is a strong word, but I think he's clearly the number 2 quarterback.
And it's just fascinating. 2 years ago, we're sitting here after the 49ers gave up the farm to move up to the 3 spot. And now here we are, and they're contemplating potentially moving on.
But that's professional sports.
I know.
I mean, Sam Darnold is now the 3rd string quarterback in San Francisco.
And
the Jets
4 years ago, he was the number 3 overall pick with the
right.
Jets.
I mean, so it's especially a quarterback, it's the way it works. I mean, Carson Wentz is the same way.
Does have a team right now?
But at least he got in the field and showed what he could do, which was pretty good when he was healthy. And Lance might be fine.
See, I had
He's
somebody,
21 years old.
I had two people ask me this yesterday after the news came out. Say, did Trey make a mistake in leaving? Which I think if you got to go, I think we said you got to go.
Well, he signed a contract for like $40 million.
He was drafted number 3
and he's drafted
overall.
number 3 overall.
That's
so
what I said.
No.
Yeah, you got to. If people are telling you got to go, you got to go.
Did NFL teams jump the gun on him?
Now that's probably a better question to ask.
Did they, because of the pandemic,
right?
And because he had the 1 year, which was outstanding, and because he looked like it was like, oh my goodness, did they jump the gun and push him to make a decision? He had to make.
Right.
When people are telling you you're going to be the number 3 pick, you don't go, no, I'm going to stay at North Dakota State. I'm going to play Western Illinois for another year. I'm good. Thanks. No, of course he made the right decision. The question would be did the NFL jump the gun, and should they have let him develop for a couple more years in college, whether it was at NDSU or someplace else?
Yeah.
That'll get our Ensign skin. Whether it's someplace else.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Yeah. I'm fascinated to see how that's gonna play out for the 49ers for this upcoming season.
The pandemic had to play a role in that,
I think you're totally right on. Absolutely, I think so.
Yep. I mean, it's as odd as it seems. Trey Lance was going to get looked at eventually, obviously.
Yep.
But did the pandemic just throw everything off to where NFL teams were like sitting around going, okay, what do we do?
Put some tape on
Trey
here.
Lance.
Yeah, right.
This guy looks pretty good. I don't know if that's the way it works or not. Seems to work that way with Grant Nelson.
Right.
A bunch of guys see a video put out by some jamoke in Detroit, and all of a sudden there's NBA scouts all over North Dakota State's basketball team. Odd.
Before we go, an email comes in. Mike, it's been 2 weeks. Does that mean the portal is not going to hit the Bison basketball team? Is it too early to say that?
I'd never say that. I mean, I know that Dave Richmond is not sleeping well at night, but certainly if you want to get in the portal, it behooves you to get in faster. And if you know that's what you're going to do, then you're in there quicker. Yep. It sure looks like things are solid right now for NDSU. But with the portal and with 19-year-old kids, when I was 19, I didn't know what I was doing from minute to minute, much less year to year.
I have a question. Did you get Paul Mills a going away present, Oral Roberts?
No, Paul Mills is fine. He's fine.
He's playing mind game. He's playing chess. The rest of us are playing checkers.
5D chess. The people in South Dakota who were so offended that he called it cold there, which was not wrong.
Nope.
By the way, it's cold here. It's cold in Fargo.
But you don't play basketball outside.
No, you don't. It's a culture shock coming from Tulsa. When it's 40 in the winter in Tulsa, isn't it? It's not like it's tropical. Not like you're coming from Florida Gulf Coast or something.
The Shang Weaver, by the way, is he 83? How old is he? He's going in the portal. He's been there forever.
I saw Jay Elson from Midco tweeted out he must be the first 40-year-old to go in the portal. All those guys from Oral Roberts, though. Max Asmus is 35. I love Max Asmus. I love watching the kid play, but he's been there forever.
He has not announced what he's doing yet either.
No. I'm thinking Wichita State.
Right.
With a soft landing spot.
Probably be a good idea to go there.
What conference are they in, by the way?
They are the American.
The AAC.
American Athletic Conference.
That's going to be a good foe for North Dakota State then in 5 years when the Bison are in the AAC.
How about your guys from San Diego? We got to go, but your guys from San Diego State. That's a heck of a last 2 weeks for them to say if the Pac-12 is interested. Hey, we're
John
the Final
Canzano from the does his own newsletter blog thing now. He was a longtime columnist for the Portland Oregonian. He's reporting in his newsletter, which I'd suggest signing up for if you like to follow the West Coast stuff. He says there's already meetings between San Diego State and the Pac-12, and they're lining things up to get the Pac-12, the San Diego State and the Pac-12.
That would be smart.
So then when Montana State goes to the Mountain West, there's going to be screaming from North Fargo and North Moorhead, by the way, as well.
Right. South Moorhead, too, on that. Thanks for coming in, bud. Appreciate it. There goes Mike McFeely joining us each and every Tuesday at 9:35. We'll come back. We'll start hour 2. Kyle Emanuel will be by. We'll get some thoughts on what we're going to see tomorrow at NDSU's Pro Day. A bunch of other conversation. We'll do that. We start hour 2 right after this.
This is Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
He's on the all-tape team day 3 version. Yeah, Bill and I, we were just talking about it. We love this player. Man, this guy makes plays.
Emanuel was in that backfield.
Kick is up and it's blocked. That's a live ball, scooped up by North Dakota State. Kyle Emanuel takes it all the way down to the 5-yard line.
I remember I was getting recruited. Coach Bull told me, if you come here, I think you'll win a national championship. He never said anything about 4.
We got a little new open working on, by the way. I think next week we're going to have that for you. We're going to drop it. You're going to like it. It's going to be good
So I
stuff.
don't have to hear myself mess up about saying national championships anymore.
It was an emotional time, man. Come on.
National championship.
Hey,
there we
come
go.
on, man. That was after your last college football game.
It was.
There was a lot of emotion up on that
was.
stage. It's great to see you. It should be like December 28th outside instead of March 28th. I was griping, the Masters is next week, and we're going to have a ton of snow.
I think I'm just committing to golf simulator because I don't know. I might not golf till August at this point.
So you might go into the Aaron Rodgers darkness retreat to watch the Masters next week, so don't look outside.
Might have to. Give me a little reprieve from this snow.
I want to start there, by the way. We played the comments from Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Packers, saying that they tried to reach out, and Aaron either didn't pick up the phone or didn't want to talk. So if you're the Packers at that point, like, okay, he's not answering our calls, then Rodgers can't be mad about that, then we're moving on.
Well, it's funny because he said the same thing, right? He was like, I was waiting for them to reach out to me, and, I got out of the retreat, and no one, and, they had already made decisions, and they hadn't contacted me, and now the Packers are saying the exact opposite. It's kind of like
stupid.
It's like a junior high battle you had with your friends. Like, well, I did this, but no, and it's like tattletale going on right now. But yeah, no, it shows exactly what we all know at this. Like, it's time to move on. I think, and obviously they are, and they're working on it. But it still hasn't happened. But it seems like this is the time to part ways, and that's why they're doing what they're doing.
What about the Lamar news yesterday? That surprised you that he came out and said that he requested a trade, and obviously nothing has happened on that. He asked that on March 2nd, according to the tweet he put out yesterday.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I think this is the part where you don't have an agent. I think makes things a little bit interesting. I think he's going to take things a little more personal because he's the one doing all these negotiations. He's the one talking to the general manager, and he's the one getting it directly to him. Like, no, we don't think you're worth X amount of dollars. And instead of having an agent being that little bit of buffer in between. When I was going through this process, I didn't talk to a single team. I wasn't like, hey, I think I'm worth this, and they're like, no, we don't think you are. I don't even know what a lot. I just got the news from my agent, and he's not getting that. And I'm guessing, that he's taking that personally, and I can't blame him. It's human nature. But I was a little surprised about that. All the way back in March 2nd. Now we're just announcing it. It was interesting. Also, he tweeted that right before Harbaugh went on.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, is that done on purpose? I think it was.
Total sandbag job there. Absolutely. And there's the thing. Baltimore's totally tailored their team, as you know, you played against him, to him. That's their team. It's all around him. Like, I don't know what they would do if they decide to move on that.
Well, they got a Pro Bowler behind him, right?
You're right. Tyler Huntley's all right. Yep.
Well, that was a little bit of sarcasm there because I think he had like 5 touchdown passes to like 6 interceptions, and he was a Pro Bowler. But you're right. They've completely, and I think that's one of the reasons why some teams don't want to make this move is because Lamar Jackson's a phenomenal player, but in the right system. You kind of, and you've seen Baltimore be really good with 2 tight ends. They've had some good receivers, but you don't really need the dynamic receiver on the outside that you're paying $20 million a year because that's not really what their offense is. And you kind of have to cater that a little bit to him if you want to see this. If you really want to unleash his full potential, that's what you have to do. Baltimore's done that. Now, if they don't, where do you go? But I think they still have to find some type of mobile quarterback unless they want to start the transition now back to a more traditional offense. It's making for a fun offseason, to say the least.
I'm just curious that the amount of I don't know if it's collusion everyone says about, but the teams would line up to get him. I can think of 5 right away, mine own included. The Jets that would line up to get this guy, but it doesn't seem like that's, at least overtly, that's the case right now.
Yeah, and I think it's a little more complicated. I think people are kind of painting this picture like, oh, you can just go grab him. He's up for grabs.
Yeah.
Like, you just. Well, no, he's still got a franchise tag on him. You still have to pay him more than $35 million
It's a double whammy because you got
the
Go
2
ahead.
first-round picks. You know, so you still have to give up a lot to get him. It's not like he's just this free agent sitting there. And no one's taking him. We'll take him for $10 million a year. No, you're gonna have to pay him probably close to $40 million a year, and it's got to be an offer that the Ravens won't match, and you have to be willing to give up 2 first-round picks. So I don't know. It is a lot. It still seems like someone out there would want that, but for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like teams are willing to give that up.
All right, I got a bunch of topics about some guys you played with, some guys that came after you that I want to visit about Bison guys. First, we played yesterday. We're doing our best of the weekend on Darius Shepard, who is having a heck of a run again in the XFL. That's after he was really good in the USFL last summer, got a training camp shot with the Broncos. I know I'm asking you a question you probably don't know, but how much do you think the NFL's paying attention to a guy like he's doing this again and having a really good spring?
I would think their pro scouts are paying a lot of attention to this right now. There's no other football going on right now. It's not like they're watching other teams or this is who you should be scouting. If you're a pro scout right now, why wouldn't you be looking at the XFL? Look, the NFL's I've talked about this a lot with you. Like the NFL's always looking for players. Always. I told you, every single Tuesday we had someone coming in trying out because someone got hurt, and you're always looking to fill spots. I don't know why you wouldn't be looking at the XFL, and I don't know why you wouldn't be looking at a guy like Darius Shepard who's absolutely tearing it up, who's played in the NFL before. I played against him, actually, when the last team I was with. I mean, he's done it before in the league. He's proving that he can still play. I would be shocked if he doesn't have an invite, or even if it's not an invite to camp, if he's not picked up at some point, middle of the season, something like that.
He's been really, really good. And, I mean, I know he had a run with Green Bay. He had that bad Monday night game. I don't know if that's to sour the Packers on him, but he's got hands. He can go and make catch. You've seen it on the game on Sunday or Saturday night. He can go and make plays. He's done it in both leagues, USFL and now the XFL.
Done it forever. He's been doing it for a long time.
And his college
since
days,
his days at NDSU, and I think he's dependable. I think again that's receiver's a position you always need bodies. I mean, most teams are playing at least 3 receivers in every single set, if not 4. That's a position of need almost all the time. And he's proven that obviously he can still play.
Another guy you played with and against, Bill Belichick said that we had to go and get this guy. He was the best special teams player we played against. He's talking about Chris Board, who signed a 2-year deal with the Patriots. You're smiling. What do you make of that?
Well,
with Board.
I think it's a perfect fit. I obviously never played for the Patriots, but just kind of knowing the kind of player they like. I played with a guy, kind of reminds me of Chris Board, different position, but his name's Adrian Phillips. He played with me on the Chargers, signed with the Patriots. Just a guy that works extremely hard, a guy that was willing to do anything, was a ball hawk on special teams, found a spot on our defense. Chris Board kind of reminds me of that, a guy that's going to do anything you want on special teams, a guy that no one wants to go against on special teams. And he's also a guy I think you can plug in. He was a safety. We forget he was a safety here at NDSU. I think you can plug him in and do some different things, blitz packages on third down. I just think that's a perfect fit for Bill Belichick and what they do defensively. They seem to get the best out of guys at times. I mean, you think about like Rob Ninkovich, a guy that I don't know, he doesn't like jump off the page, but he had like 50 career sacks. It seems like, I think this is a good spot for Chris Board, and it seems like a guy that just fits in there.
It's just funny that how his career has totally blown up in the NFL. He was a good player at NDSU. I still don't think people appreciated, how great that linebacker core was in 2017, the Bison had it was Chris Board, Nick DeLuca, and Jabril Cox that were playing in the national championship game that year. And then he's gone, and you played against him, obviously, in the NFL when he was with the Ravens, how he has put a niche that he is a special teams dynamo, and teams want to have him for that particular reason.
There's teams all over the league. Teams want, it seems like most of the good teams, they have a special teams case. They do. We had a few when I was with the Chargers. I know the Texans had a few. Raiders had some. Teams need this, and he is a perfect example of a guy who's given an opportunity and took advantage of it and proved his worth to teams and proved that it's. And that's why linebacker is kind of a unique position, because your worth is not only on the defensive side. The special teams accounts for, sometimes 30 plays a game. So you're playing 30 plays on special teams, you mix in a little bit of defense. I mean, teams need guys like that. And it's surprising it's not. Because like you said, he didn't play a ton at NDSU until kind of later in his career. But just knowing what I know about Chris and his athleticism and his build and the way his motor and things like that kind of makes sense.
Lastly, guy that coached you now in the NFL, and Jamar Cain, who got hired by the Denver Broncos over the weekend. I know you visited with Jamar on your radio show yesterday, and just getting to know him the time he was here, and now seeing his career go from Fresno State to Arizona State to the chance to go to Oklahoma, then LSU, and now this. This is exactly where he's wanted to get to, and that's pretty cool.
It is. It's awesome, and it doesn't really shock me once again. Just having worked with Coach Cain for a year, and then playing for a year in the NFL, kind of just seemed like his personality, his coaching style, just seemed to fit the NFL. And I know he had been there before. He was an intern, I believe, with the Raiders before he was at Wyoming.
That's right.
And I think that this was just always the ultimate goal for him, and which is it's almost surprising because you were at LSU making really good money as a defensive line coach, kind of in the pinnacle in the SEC of college football, and now, but this was the ultimate goal for him, I believe. I think this is just going to be another stepping stone. I think eventually he's going to be a position coach. We talked to him yesterday about what does exactly pass rush specialist mean. I think it's a good spot for him. He's really good at just tweaking little things with guys and showing them just, hey, here's what you've been doing. Let's try something else, and really getting the most out of guys. And I think that's what the Broncos are going to find with him. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
You've told me this. He transformed your game. He got you to be an NFL player, basically.
He did. He came in. I think I was a good player before he came in. He kind of, like you said, transformed me into an even better player in just 1 year. And I think that's why it translates to the NFL. You don't get 4 or 5 years to develop guys in the NFL. Sometimes you do, but sometimes guys are in and out. You're going to have guys coming in every single week. If you can just change one or two things, and that's why I think his coaching style and what he does will translate well to the NFL.
Lastly, the big news over the weekend, Kopech and I talked about this yesterday, is that your former teammate, Grant Olson's going to be a dad. He and Amy announced that they're expecting a baby in September. The hard question I'll ask you, the better athletic genes in that family are going to be from who?
Amy.
Yes.
Yeah, not even close. I think Grant would probably tell you the same thing. I think, just look at what Amy's done.
Yes, correct.
And she's not only good at golf, she's a very good
pickleball player, right?
Possibly better than Grant. I know he would debate us on that. They're both very good at pickleball as well. No, I think either way, I think, I think that kid will be just fine.
That's awesome. Congratulations to them. That was the big news that came out yesterday. All right, we're going to take a break. We come back. It is Pro Day tomorrow. We'll get Kyle's thoughts on how that has changed at NDSU since you did your Pro Day 8 years ago, and what we expect coming up tomorrow when the entire NFL will be here. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns right after this. Yeah, don't forget, we're going to be live tomorrow. Kyle's going to join us. NDSU Pro Day. We made this a habit. We did it last year. Had a ton of fun. Hopefully, we're going to have some people out there. Unlike, was it the first hour we were there? We were basically you and me.
Just doing weigh-ins.
Our staff's wondering if you're going to do the 40 again.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
When is the last 40 you ran?
2015.
Okay.
I don't think I don't think I've ran one since.
That's it.
I ran it at the combine, and I don't think
gonna be any better than that, right?
I don't know. Like right now, I'm thinking I still try and stay in shape, but I'm not sprinting. I was like, I don't know if I have a better chance of breaking 5 seconds or pulling a hamstring. I think that'd be a good debate there.
Hey, I wanted to throw this at you. ESPN reporting the Football Oversight Committee is going to change a couple things, basically with recruiting, and I want to ask you about this. It's going to change the football calendar, but it includes allowing coaches to visit juniors in person starting January 1st of their junior year of high school, 11 months earlier than what it is right now. How much? That's a big deal because they can't right now until basically, December of their junior year before they can start doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a common sense rule to me. I think coaches are already. I mean, you've seen. It's always funny because there's all these rules put in place, but you'll see kids that are in like a freshman in high school getting offers and things like that, and it's just happening earlier and earlier with all the access and with social media and with all the video that's available now. I think I think it makes sense. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to, contact. I remember, when recruiting, like back in the day, it's like you had to like have a chance encounter with someone and then you could talk to them, but you couldn't like set up a meeting. It's like people are always going to bend the rules anyway, so why not just make it legal?
Here's another one. Schools will be able to initiate telephone calls to prospects at the end of their sophomore year on June 15th. Now it's limited contact on September 1st of their junior year, where prospects have to call coaches after coaches text them. I know that's so backwards to me, but
I just laugh. Who can possibly keep track of all
of that, right?
I don't know.
It is interesting to see it start earlier, though. That is a big deal. Something we might, hopefully we can get the head football coach about that on. Okay, Pro Day tomorrow. I only used to do this a couple times a year. We do the vintage video of Combine, but Pro Day was a different experience for yourself now March of 2015 when the bubble was still relatively new.
Not even a year old.
Defunct.
Yeah.
You and John Crockett, I believe, were the only guys out there, correct?
Well, there was other guys out there. We were the only two that were at the Combine. Okay. I can't remember who was. I know Dudzik was out there.
Yeah, that's right. Christian was,
I can't remember if Cole came back.
He may have, yeah.
There was...
Travis did, I think.
Travis
might have.
there?
Yeah.
There might have been one or two others that I'm forgetting
but
as well. Yeah.
What was the anticipation for this? You had done you already done the All-Star game. You had done the Combine. Was there nerves for this or not so much? Just let it fly and see what happens.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I knew I didn't have to have a stopwatch put to me on anything. I wasn't bench pressing. I wasn't running. I wasn't doing anything that was timed. I knew I just needed to show up in shape. I needed to, show some fluidities, show some athleticism, especially with the linebacker stuff because I was playing D-line in college. But it was a little bit of nerves, sure, because it was the last thing. It was the last box to kind of check off. But it was also a little bit of relief, just knowing that this was the last thing that I had to do. This was basically it. And I just remember kind of feeling that sense of relief once it was all over.
So when was it your agent or the scouts come say, hey, we want you to look at fullback? Was that before this or during,
I think it was,
during the day?
I think it was during. I think it was maybe after I had done my workout and they just asked. I think they maybe asked my agent, or I asked my agent, I was like, is this a good idea? Because Crockett was the only running back.
Yeah.
And it does get tiring. And you have to wait for him to come back the entire time. So they asked, do you want to run fullback drills?
There you go.
Here I am giving it a shot.
Look at the hands there.
I think I caught them all,
Look at those
too.
hands.
I don't think I dropped a single one, if I remember correctly. It's just one of those things like, hey, when you're young and you want to show, I'll do anything for the team.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. If you want me to run some fullback to the flat in the red zone and catch a touch, yeah, I'm up for that. Let's do it.
I got to give you that piece of video so you've got that forever there. How many passes did you actually catch in high school? Do you remember?
I actually played tight end as a sophomore.
Okay.
But we threw the ball 6 times a game. So maybe 10, maybe. That might be pushing it.
When this was all done, though, the Pro Day, what relief was there? Like, okay, it's it. Everything is in the clubhouse now. I've done everything I can do.
It was huge. I still remember. I think I had to meet with the Eagle Scout real quick, or maybe it was Viking Scout really quick afterwards. I was like, oh, really? One more thing? But no, it's so much, and it's just a different kind of pressure. I was used to grinding. I remember they're like, oh, you're not going to get much time off between the national championship and the All-Star game. And I was like,
you didn't.
So that's fine. I'm used to that. We took a week off. Maybe we were back to lifting with Kramer. But it was just different. I think all the scrutiny and trying to be perfect, for lack of a better word, and trying not to throw up any red flags the entire time, and just knowing that, okay, now it's done. Now I just await and finally get to find out where I'm going after months of just speculation and people asking me where you're going to. I have no idea. None of these guys do.
Yeah.
I always tell the story of how, I talked to the Chargers maybe less than any team out there. They weren't at Pro Day. I don't know if I met with them at the Combine. I might have had a phone call conversation with someone. Outside of that, there was nothing.
Wow.
And yet that's where I ended up.
For the guys going tomorrow, what would you tell, if they were to ask you, Kyle, any advice about tomorrow, what would you tell them?
Yeah, good question. I think kind of like we were just talking about, like, this is just the last thing. Try not to be nervous. Just try to go let it rip and do the same things you've been doing. Trust your training. Trust everything that's everyone's been telling you, and then just go out and have fun. I think it's just like playing a football game, right? Like if you're too up in your head mentally, you get locked up a little bit. That's when you stumble. That's when you make some mistakes. Just go have fun. This is a once in a lifetime thing. I know some guys do a couple different pro days, but like this is this is the coolest job interview you'll ever do, and just go rip it up and have fun.
And the thing is, you mentioned this in break. There were 3 NFL teams for yours.
We just saw the third. I remember it was Vikings, Eagles. I couldn't remember that. It was
Jags,
Jacksonville.
yeah.
Just 3.
And all 32 are going to be here tomorrow. That just tells you, again, it's 8 years. It's not that long since you did it, that the entire NFL, like it was last year, is going to be here again. That's a pretty cool deal.
It's changed a lot. And obviously having 2 quarterbacks that go in the top 3 helps that. We've had ESPN here multiple times now. It's definitely changed, and it's awesome it's a great opportunity for these guys to get in front of all 32 teams, especially, we talk about Cody Mauk and Hunter Lipke and the guys that were at the Combine. But for the guys that are looking to just get an opportunity, maybe not get drafted.
Talbert.
Now Destin Talbert, it's like, okay, now every single team has had a chance to see me and see what I can do.
Can't wait to see you tomorrow, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming by, all right? We'll be on the air tomorrow at 9 a.m. for NDSU's Pro Day. We'll take a break. One of the guys will be there tomorrow. Noah Gindorff will join us. More Bison tight end coming up when we come back here on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra at InForum.com. Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mic rolls on a busy Tuesday morning here on WDAY Extra, Inforum.com. Pretty pumped to have our next guest here in studio. This is, I've interviewed his dad. I've interviewed his mom. We haven't had he on the show as Noah Gindorff joins us in studio, former Bison tight end who's getting ready for NDSU's Pro Day tomorrow. Literally, I had your dad on a couple times. We had your mom on our pregame show. This is it to complete the trifecta.
Yeah,
here,
you'd think maybe I would have been the first one on, but I guess my
your parents are pretty big deal. So.
I'm sure they were good interviews too.
They were great. It's great to see you. The first question is just tell me how you're feeling. How are things going?
I'm feeling good. I just had 3 really good months out in Denver training, getting ready for this Pro Day, and obviously I had an all-star game and the Combine mixed in there, but it was good, just like 3 months to really just focus completely on getting healthy, just being at, my absolute peak. So I'm ready to peak at this time. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go, definitely.
Bison fans have not seen you since Arizona. So I think the first question would be, tell me the decision process about when you thought, okay, I'm not feeling better. My ankle's not feeling any better.
Right. So, I got the first surgery in December of 21, and then, I rehabbed hard for a solid 6 months and was just not making good progress, But I was kind of told, by doctors and stuff like that, like, oh, this is like 100% recovery surgery. Like, tons of guys get this done, like, you'll be fine. So I kind of thought, all the issues that I was having were pretty standard. Like, it was just kind of run-of-the-mill, and I was going to just have to deal with those things. But then, as that season just starts creeping closer and I'm still not getting better, it started to get a little bit concerning. This was supposed to be my senior year and I wanted to be at my absolute best. And, I hadn't even been able to really train fully, I missed spring ball. I missed pretty much all summer. And I even, sat out the beginning of fall camp just trying to get healthy. And, eventually, I had to go in and just say, like, listen, I think we need to look at this again because there's something feels like really wrong in my ankle. Got that in and then, played that game and honestly felt pretty good.
Scored a touchdown.
Yeah. And, I was able to have a good game. Yeah. And then after that, got the MRI and, after having a good game, I wasn't even that worried. And then, the MRI came back and they were like, oh, yeah, this is really concerning. And I was just kind of, for 2 weeks there, was getting kind of thrown all around saying, I think you need to get surgery. And then another doctor would come back and say, oh, no, I think as long as it's not getting worse, like, you're good to keep going. And it was just, back and forth. And then finally, we got, one of the NFL doctors out in Green Bay was able to look at it, and he was like, yeah, I've seen this before. Like, you need to shut it down and get surgery. And that was like the Thursday before the Arizona game. And so I just said, like, listen, man, like, this, is going to be, this is a game like I've looked forward to for years.
Yep.
And, can I just play one more before I have to shut it down and get surgery? And he said, yeah, go ahead. And so I was able to, play that FBS game against Arizona. Obviously didn't go how we wanted, but I knew going into that game, that was going to be my last one. And doctor kind of told me, I won't know, really what's wrong until I go in there for surgery, until I can stick a camera in there. And he's like, you could be out 2 weeks, could be out 6 weeks, you could be out 6 months. I guess we'll just have to see. And yeah, obviously woke up from surgery and they said, yeah, you're done. And so that was definitely tough to go through. Initial injury was tough, but I kind of had that 6th year to fall back on, and now this second go around, didn't have that to look back on. So, yeah, that was definitely tough, and had a little pity party for myself for a while, but then
understandable, man.
Yeah, I mean, I had to turn it around and get ready for this next chapter, and that's kind of what I was doing. Decided to get that surgery just to give myself a little more time on this back end here. So that maybe I would be able to have a pro day and be ready to go for minicamp.
I had people ask me if was there any consideration of using a 7th year, of coming back and doing this all over again.
There was, yeah. But I just almost thought, like, what if it happens again?
Yeah.
And this surgery is, the last go around they said that was kind of like 100% of recovery, and this one was not as high, and so it was a bit concerning. Like, what if I come back for another year and I just have to sit out again, a whole nother year. And, I'm 24 already. So, if I am looking to make that, step to the next level, like, it's got to happen soon here. I don't want to be, already coming, down the hill when I'm getting to the next level.
Yeah.
So, I think it was kind of a now or never thing. And, obviously I'm getting married this summer. So I have
Big
a lot of
stuff
things.
happening,
Yeah.
man.
So it was kind of
awesome.
like, I kind of just it was time to take that next step, I think, and had full support from the coaches and stuff like that. They kind of understood the position I was in.
I was standing next to the scouts from the Senior Bowl on the sideline of the Arizona game. They're looking at Hunter, they're looking at Cody, and they're looking at you. How much you already know in the back of your mind that surgery's coming, that I want to have, because you want to have the best game possible, because this was your first time playing against an FBS team. How prevalent was that in your mind?
I mean, like, just going through that, like, there's so many emotions, and like, like, if I was feeling healthy, like, maybe I would have been like, oh gosh, like, Senior Bowl, like, if I'm not worrying about my ankle or about surgery or anything, like, that maybe would have worried me a little bit more. But like,
just going out and playing,
that was honestly the 5th most important thing on that day. I just had so much on my plate and so many emotions. So yeah, definitely.
How much you already had to sit and watch the team win the championship the season before, then to sit and do this again. I mean, there was a time we had a camera shot, Noah, before. I can't remember what game it was. You're sitting next to, I think it was Illinois State. You're sitting next to Jalen Sundell and Eli Mostart. I mean, those are some heavy hitters that aren't playing. I mean, tell me what that experience was like, where it just seemed like, and then Lipke's on there with you, but it just kept racking up
Mason
throughout
Miller,
the season. Yeah, it just kept racking up as the season went along.
I mean, we got bit pretty hard, by the injury bug this past season, and obviously, seeing the quality of players that we have just sitting on the table over there during a game.
It's unbelievable.
It's obviously tough, and but no one's gonna feel bad for us. No one's gonna be like, oh, no one's gonna take it easy on us. Yeah. And to our credit, our guys just kept finding a way to win games. They were playing really well, and obviously, came up just short at the end. But I mean, with the amount of injuries that we had, I think the run that those guys were able to go on was incredible in itself.
Pretty impressive there. Visited with Noah Gindorff, former Bison tight end, who'll be at NDSU Pro Day. And you mentioned this. So you got the invite to the NFLPA game. You again got the invite to the Combine. How mixed emotions were that to get those, but knowing I can't go and do everything I want to do?
Yeah, that was definitely tough. And, we had the day this fall where Jim Nagy came to Fargo to hand out Cody and Hunter
from the
their
Senior
invites.
Bowl. Yep.
And he told me, he messaged me, he's like, hey, man, you had one with your name on it if you didn't go down. It's like that almost makes you feel better, but at the same time, it doesn't.
Like
it's
a backhanded compliment, right?
It's just like it's another thing that you're missing out on, another thing that you had hoped for and dreamed for, and they got taken away. And so that was definitely tough, but, the NFLPA was good. I was able to go out there and do interviews and stuff like that, and that was really good. And then Combine, I mean, obviously that's the peak. You grow up as a kid watching guys run their 40-yard dashes, and you just don't see all the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on there at the Combine. But, yeah, it's definitely tough. Like I said, you as a kid, you're watching those guys run their 40, and comes time, you're watching everyone else do there, and you just got to stand there. And it's definitely tough, but doing what I can. I knew like the medical testing and stuff like that
was going to be huge, right?
Was going to be the biggest for me. And then just, do interviews with tight end coaches and scouts and stuff like that. And, just try to make a good impression.
How much did they actually ask you football stuff? I'm sure they hammered you on your ankle, but did you actually get to talk? Did they ask you about football stuff too?
Yeah. So with the scouts, there's a lot of, pretty basic questions that they ask, like what was your home life? How do you best learn? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Stuff like that. And then, maybe we'd get and draw up a little X's and O's. And meeting with the tight ends coaches, actually, we were able to like go through an install and just see how I learn. Or they'd have us draw up some of our plays from NDSU here. And, just demonstrate my football knowledge. And I think, that's one of my strengths. But it was good. Not too much football, but mostly, the other end of things, but it was still good.
They ask you if you like cats or dogs, or if you like flowers. They get you any of the oddball?
Nothing too crazy.
Ones?
One coach asked me, he's like, so let's say you and I, we go out to Chipotle together and I ask for a water cup and I go and fill it up with soda. What are you going to do? And I'm like, whatever, man. Like,
what?
Anything. It's just not me.
So tomorrow, then, what are you going to be able to do with all the scouts here, and what's ahead from now? And we're a month out from the draft.
Yeah. So I have a couple meetings lined up for the next couple days. Just and that'll probably be they're sending an offensive assistant to go through an install or go through our plays. Just kind of again test that football knowledge and stuff. But on-field stuff, I'm still coming back and I'm still getting ready, so I won't be able to do any of the on-field testing, but. Get all my measurements again, like at the combine, and then just do the bench press. Just kind of do what I can. To be able to do something, I think will be good.
And your mom mentioned to me that you're hopeful to have your own pro day in the next couple. Is that something that's set up yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I just got the go ahead about 3.5 weeks ago to start running again. So if I was going tomorrow, that's just really not enough time.
Yeah.
And so, April 13th, I'll be doing my own pro day. Just understand, probably won't have the turnout of the full NDSU one. It would have been nice, be able to work out here because, Cody and Hunter and Spencer and Nash and all these guys are going to garner a bunch of attention. Yep. But this one will just be, it'll just be mine. And teams that show up, hopefully are teams that, are really wanting to take a look at me and want to see me succeed. And so, it'll just be cool to still be able to go through that process.
Is Lipke pretty close to full go for tomorrow?
Yeah. He's going to shock some people.
That's exactly right. And we had this discussion with Kyle Emanuel. You have plenty of tape out there. It's not like people don't know how well you can play football.
Yeah.
But same thing with Hunter. It's like there's a ton of tape out there, but I still think when they actually physically see him, they're going to be blown away.
Yeah. I think when he runs, everyone's going to be like, holy. And there's going to be a lot of guys like that, I think.
Yeah.
I was out in Denver training with Dawson Weber, and I'm just going to tell you right now, get ready.
Okay.
You're gonna see something tomorrow. So
excited about that.
Yeah.
All right, I got a little video clip I want to play. These are like the top plays that I found for you at NDSU. I want you can debate them, or if I'm missing out on one, you got to let me know. All right.
Okay, yeah.
All right, boys. Let's play it here. First one that I came up with: national championship game in 2020. This catch that you had. How difficult was this catch? Because it gets tipped and you still made it.
This is just I was actually playing a position I had never even played before. Ben Elfson, the senior, comes in, and obviously he's gonna take the good route, and I'm kind of running the route here, just
this ball caught you, man.
Yeah, and not expecting to catch the ball at all, but it truly is like instinctual. Like you see it, you just gotta grab it. And
this one, first touchdown at Target Field. How cool was that?
First career catch. I think playing at Target Field, I had a ton of family there. I'm a Minnesota kid, so. That was pretty special, too.
That one in Illinois State, I thought was these two, Illinois State and then Northern Iowa, these two both almost the same play, weren't they?
Yeah. that was that run in 2019. My first 5 career catches all went for a touchdown. And obviously, I think that was, a little unprecedented and just happened to be lucky. But, that was.
Still got to make the play.
Yeah, exactly.
What am I missing? Is there one that stands out to you we don't have in the highlight reel?
No, these were all good. These were all good. Yeah, definitely.
You and I have known each other basically since your junior year of high school. To now have this come to fruition? Is this exciting, nerve-wracking, a little bit of both?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's many more emotions that they could really put me through that I haven't felt in the past few months. I think coming out of this on the other side definitely am tougher because of it. So I think I am really ready for everything, and maybe I'm not where I wanted to be, but as a kid, like, you're looking ahead and you're like, I am exactly where I wanted to be. I was able to go to the NFL Combine. I have a shot at being drafted, and I mean, as a kid, like, it might seem like just a dream, but like now here it is, like right on my doorstep. So definitely ready to go.
That's pretty well said.
Yeah.
Now with the fact that, you went down to do all the promotional work at U.S. Bank Stadium, was there any tie to that? So, you know what, if I do come back and play at U.S. Bank next season.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be really cool to see those guys play there, and I know Bison Nation will show up big time.
It'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, obviously I know, like, I was doing the promo stuff, and I was like, God, I'm not even going to be here. But it was cool, yeah, and I know Coach Entz, like, knew a Minnesota kid, like, that would mean a lot to me, so I appreciate him letting me do that.
You got to play at Target Field, though, man. That was something else. That was really, really a neat experience down there to have that many people,
really cool.
too.
Yeah.
And that was Trey Lance's coming out party, as we now know after that. Last question. Was basketball ever really considered? Because you were a heck of a basketball. People forget.
Yeah.
The first time I saw you play was down here at Concordia when we televised the 8AA championship. I think we were playing Perham.
Like, it would have been Breckenridge.
It was Breck. Yep. I'm like, who is this? Like, this kid's playing football? Because he's an awesome basketball player.
Yeah. So, I mean, football was always kind of going to be like the thing that I think took me to the next level. Obviously, got a little bit of recruiting going through basketball and stuff like that. But, I didn't play AAU or anything, I mean, that's AAU in the summer of basketball is like a full-time. Like, you don't have time to do anything else. And I was, I was lifting, 7-on-7 football. I was doing open gym for basketball, weightlifting. I mean, like, all this stuff in the summer. And so I was like, I don't even have time to play AAU. Like, I really don't. And so, just never really got that opportunity. And after my junior year of high school, the football started coming pretty heavy. So, kind of just made sense from there.
Are we going to see Cody run the 40 again tomorrow? Or are we done?
I don't think he's going to.
It was pretty good at the Indianapolis.
Yeah, that was a good number for him. Yeah, he was pretty happy with that, and I think he just kind of said he was going to do like agilities and stuff and position work, and
he was the star of the combine. He was all over television.
I knew he would be too. I mean, that big goofball. Like, I knew, like, his
network interview for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like, we've been around it forever, and it's like,
right?
I think we're in a group chat together with some of our friends, and someone puts in there like, "Oh my gosh, if I have to hear about your stupid teeth one more time." Like,
that's funny.
Yeah. I fall in love with him and the teeth and the long red hair. Like, how do you not love him?
Next month, man, is going to be crazy there, too.
Yeah.
So awesome to see you. Glad you're doing well. Good luck tomorrow. We'll do this again soon, all right?
Absolutely, Dom. Thank you for having me on.
There he is. Noah Gindorff, the pride of Crosby, Minnesota, will be part of NDSU's Pro Day tomorrow. We'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. Say so long. We'll do that right after this. All right, don't forget, everybody, live show tomorrow on location. Well, we're live every day, but we're on location tomorrow for NDSU Pro Day up at the indoor practice facility. Join us 9 to 11 right here on WDAY Extra, InForum.com. We're working with Dick Bramer. Hopefully we'll get him on Thursday. I know he normally joins us on Wednesdays. Hopefully Thursday will work out great because that's the day of the Twins opener in Kansas City. We'll update everybody on our social media accounts on our schedule changes there. But again, we're live tomorrow, 9 to 11. Up from the Bison Pro Day with a little bonus now that Hunter Lipke is going to go full bore. That's some news there that Noah shared with us. Let's get you ready for what to watch before we get out of here on this Tuesday morning, snowy Tuesday. We've got Bison baseball tonight. North Dakota State will take on Nebraska. It's probably the only place they can play in the upper Midwest. Their series with the Jackrabbits has just been blown up. 6 o'clock tonight, BTN Plus, Big Ten Network Plus. You can check out the Bison, who have won 4 of their last 6, coming up tonight. Pelicans Warriors on TNT tonight, 9 o'clock. It's a huge game as the Wolves watch 2 teams now behind them in the standings. And the NIT, Wisconsin, North Texas tonight, 6 o'clock on ESPN. Thanks to our guests today, to Mike McFeely, Emanuel, and Noah Gindorff. If you missed any of our show, of course, you can podcast it every day at InForum.com. Everybody have a great Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Hot Mike on WDAY Extra and InForum.com.